Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Classic Comics, and happy Easter to all of you. I hope you and your loved ones are all safe and healthy during this time. So, with the local comic shops closed, I've been unable to get new comics to review for the channel. So I'm starting to look at reviewing digital comics and start doing some different videos that cover projects or subjects other than comics. But first, I wanted to do a video on Alterna comics. Some of you are probably aware of Alterna already. It's a comic book publisher that releases comics that are printed on newsprint with a $1.50 price tag. So, what? A $1.50 price tag on newsprint? It's like it's the 90s up in here. Now, Alterna is a small publisher. Their editor is Peter Simeti, who has a YouTube channel. I encourage you to give that a look and follow it if you aren't already. So Peter was harassed and attacked online a couple of years back because some SJW types wanted him to cancel some of his customers who had opinions they didn't like. When he refused, they started a campaign of harassment. He didn't give in, though, and he's still publishing. It was shortly after that he offered a deal on his website, all of his #1 issues in a bundle at a discount, and I figured I'd buy some to show support. So that's how I came to have all these Alterna comics here. Now, Alterna publishes comics in a variety of genres: horror, sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes. They also publish comics for a variety of ages and audiences. Now, I've got 22 comics here altogether. I'm not going to do an in-depth review on each one, but I'm going to give a quick review of the ones here that I preferred, and then briefly touch on the rest of them. So first, we have Exilium. And this is a sci-fi space opera story. Basically, sometime in the not-too-distant future. So these aliens here, these guys, they come to Earth as refugees. Their homeworld has been invaded and conquered by some other aliens, and they come to Earth as refugees, and they wind up settling here. Then the bad guy aliens attack Earth, and it's kind of, it's kind of like a Terminator after the machine's intact, kind of civilization's a mess. And humans are kind of in these enclaves, and they're hunted. And, the art's pretty good overall. Yeah, so, years later, the people of Earth are fighting a losing battle against the invaders and decided they need to send a mission out into space to find these other aliens called the Exilium, who might be able to help them save Earth. Now, this is definitely one of the better looking comics Alterna has. The art is solid. The story is solid. The writer, Ben Slabak, sets things up pretty well. One criticism I have is that he doesn't really give you much information on the bad aliens. They're pretty vaguely defined. I think seeing a little more of them would have helped make the story a little more compelling and make the threat seem more real. Now, next we have Scrimshaw. So, in the future, global warming causes the seas to rise. The loss of land and resources causes nations to rise and fall. Piracy becomes a common way of life again. People are packed into a bunch of megacities, which are a mishmash of cultures. The story involves... so this guy... Danny Yuda, and he's like a sort of smuggler, sort of mercenary, and he goes to this auction and he steals an object, but there's this corporation that wants the object, so they're going to come after him, and he takes the object back to his ship, with his, which is manned by his crew of, eccentric, quirky misfits. And, that's the basic setup for it. So this is a fun book. Now, You should understand that the art in most Alterna books is more along the lines of what you'll see in an independent comic, not Marvel or DC level art. The art by Dave Mims is stylish, but it's also kind of sparse on detail. The whole thing has a Firefly kind of feel to it, with a mishmash of, Western and Eastern cultures and motifs. Basically, kind of like Firefly mixed with Waterworld and Blade Runner, I guess. This book reminds me of the epic comics that Marvel did back in the mid-'80s. Star Slammers, Alien Legion, Strike Force Morituri, that kind of stuff. Now, next we have Eden. And this is another sci-fi series. So in Eden, Earth has been invaded and conquered by aliens called the Nomads. Earth's High Council sends General Willis here to find a distant world called Eden that can become humanity's new home. But the Nomads try to stop her and they abduct her son. She and her companions so Christian and this alien guy called Klaatu, which is a reference to When the Day the Earth Stood Still. And they attempt to find and retrieve her son. Now, this book has excellent artwork by the creator here, Eric Hansen. This is the best-looking Alterna comic that I have seen. The art is just really, really good. The book is honestly a little kind of SJW-ish. The general here, she's a strong woman, and her companion here, Christian, the white guy, is, well, honestly, he's kind of useless. But I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. Like I said, the book looks great. The alien guy here, Klaatu, he's very, visually, he's very interesting. And this issue sets up the search for her son pretty well. All right, so now we have Tinseltown. And I really liked this book, mainly because I found the material so interesting. So the creator, David Lucarelli, sets the story in Los Angeles in 1915. And a young woman named Abigail loses her father. She wants to be a cop. She wants to be a cop because her father was a cop. And when she was about 15, he was killed in the line of duty. Of course, this is 1915, so there aren't many women on the police force. I don't know how accurate it is, but in the story we're told that the LA police only have 3 female employees and they aren't looking to hire any more. However, the writer tells us that in 1915, Universal Studios was basically run like a city within a city. It had its own mayor, who was a woman, and had its own police force, which employed women as well. So Abigail sees an ad in the paper here, advertising for Utopia Studios. It's this fictional studio hiring police. She decides to go and apply for the job and meets the chief of police, who is also a woman, and winds up getting the job. Although the application process is more like an audition than anything else. And she soon discovers that the job is really more about being a tour guide and being kind of a hostess, really, more than it is being an actual cop. I mean, she's given a gun, but it has blanks in it. And she's told that if there's any real trouble, just call for help. She isn't giving any training at all. She's mainly just told to look pretty and be friendly. And on her first day on the job, she's getting lots of, rude comments from men. Hey, Toots, you can arrest me anytime, that sort of thing. Then on the first day, she has to deal with a suicide, a guy committing suicide. And everyone's looking at her like, hey, you're a cop, do something. And she's just like, what do I do? So I really liked this one. I like it because Lucarelli picked an interesting setting for the story. I never knew about how the old studios kind of operated like independent cities with their own police force and how they hired, a lot of women in positions where they normally couldn't be hired. Now, as you see in the book, it's really more about kind of sexing up the place with pretty women than it was really about equality, but, it was a start. In addition, this is just really well written. Lucarelli does an excellent job of setting the scene. The characters don't act like modern people, and the people we meet seem like real people, not caricatures. And you really feel for Abigail. She has dreams that she wants to pursue, but the system that's in place is stacked against her in a number of ways. And she really can't do what she wants, but she finds a workaround of sorts. Now, the art it's okay. I would like more background work, personally. As you can see, there's not a lot here. And the figures are a bit stiff, but that actually kind of works for this story. It's fine. I mean, this isn't a real action-heavy story or anything. And, I highly recommend this book. I really liked it. So these were the books that I preferred, that I liked the most. Now, I'll go over a few of these other books here a little more quickly. Now, these are others that I thought were okay. I didn't love them, but they were fine. So the first here is Go West, and this is kind of a post-apocalyptic Western. You've got this homestead out in the middle of nowhere. It's sometime after, a war has kind of wrecked civilization. I've noticed that there's several books with that same basic setup. It takes place in the not-too-distant future on a homestead in the middle of nowhere. It's after the apocalypse. Civilization has fallen. But anyway, this is basically kind of like a Western. It's a revenge tale. Your basic revenge tale. This guy, his family's been murdered. And, he's going to go out and hunt down the men what done it. The writing is minimal. The draw here is the art. It's pretty stylish. Honestly, I think the backgrounds are kind of better than the figures. And he adds some nice flourishes to the story here and there. Like this one here, this panel, this looks like it was watercolored, I guess. Nicely done. So yeah, he buries his family. So he buries his family and he goes out hunting for the killers. And, it kind of goes like you would expect. Okay, now next we've got The Chair. And this is set on death row. This one is actually written by Peter Samedi. And actually it has his autograph. He autographed it. And this one... this is more of a character piece, and how do you keep your humanity in a place like death row. Okay, so then we got Zero Jumper, and I liked the art in this one. This kid is jumping from planet to planet, looking for these crystals. They don't go into a lot of detail about it, but, it looks good. It was fun. The action's well done. The story's really fast-paced. The tone is light. I think this is a good comic for a kid. I think kids would like this one. Then we got Mother Russia here. So this is set in 1943, and World War II comes to an end when the zombie apocalypse happens. And it's set in Stalingrad. And we have this... female Soviet sniper who's just kind of taking pot shots at zombies all day and taking them out. Then she sees this kid. Where is it? Here. So then she sees this kid and goes out to rescue him, but then gets trapped And then they are rescued by this guy. And he takes them with him. He leads them to his hideout. But after they get there, they discover that he is like a Nazi or something. So there's that. And that was kind of fun. The art's pretty, the art's pretty simplistic, kind of cartoonish, but it's fun. So those were, I thought, okay. Now then I'm just going to kind of touch on the rest of these. The rest of them, either I didn't like the art or I wasn't into the story for whatever reason. So basically I've got two groups here. I've got these which are aimed at a young audience, aimed at kids. And, they're kind of simplistic and, kind of silly for my taste. But they're not bad, I think a young kid would like them. This one, Amazing Age, is kind of fun. This one, Fear Diaries. The art's pretty good in here. I like this one. At least the art. And so on. If you want to get a kid interested in comics, these might be some good choices to introduce them. They need to be pretty young, though. Under 10 years old, I would think, at least. Maybe even a little younger. Okay, and then we got the final batch here. And again, these, either I didn't care for the art or I didn't care for the story for whatever reason. And so, okay. So, and by the way, if you'll notice, these are pretty much all miniseries. All these books. There really aren't much in the way of regular monthly books. So this is another one of those post-apocalyptic stories I mentioned. Here's another one. Here's another one. Okay, then they've also got these two. These are kind of like horror comics. They're done by the same guy here, this Cody Souza. And like I say, I wasn't into them. But the art's interesting. I like the art in this Sonitus or Sonitus, however you say it. It's pretty atmospheric. And then you got this one here. And this is actually an anthology. This has just kind of like snippets or samples from a variety of books. And then you got this last one here. So that's it. Like I said, Alterna sells their comics at $1.50. So, it's on newsprint like the olden days. This was the price of an average comic back in the mid-90s. So, you can get several of them and without spending a whole lot of money. If you want to get kids introduced to comics, there are some good options here. And I believe Peter does a lot of specials and whatnot on his website. That do like bundles of comics, groups of comics at a discount. So you're not even going to be spending $1.50 necessarily. For these 22 comics at $1.50, that's $33 basically. And I believe there are bundles you can get on there that are like $32, $30, something like that. So check that out on Peter's website, alterna.com. And like I said, this could be a good way to introduce kids to comics if you'd like to do that. But really, as you can see here, they have something for everyone. Now, if you've read Alterna yourself and you have anything to add, let me know in the comments. And if you like this content, please hit the like button before you leave. And please subscribe to the channel. And hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.